Good morning and welcome to the show, and welcome back to Marine Max here on Panama City Beach on Thomas Drive, and I'm here with Bob Fowler.
Always great to have you back,
Good to see you, my friend.
Sir.
Yeah, now, you know, you've got that WOW Women on Water class.
Yes.
That's coming up.
That's coming up Saturday, the 21st. And you can call, anybody can call and see if we still have openings. I'm not sure at this point whether we do or not. We only take 12 ladies.
It's a very popular class.
It is a very popular class, and it's half, it starts at 10 o'clock, goes to 2 o'clock. Half is in classroom, the other half is out actually on the water in one of our great boats. And it's hands-on experience.
Yeah, and then you have another class coming up, I guess a safety class, is that right? Coast
We
Guard
have
safety?
a safety class, will be the first Saturday, I believe that's the 4th of April, and we do that every month, with the exception of going through October. And so that'll be another safety class, and we look forward to anybody registering for that. And then let us know about
and
that.
like we said the last time I was here and we talked about the safety classes, it's not just for beginners.
No.
I mean, it's for even if you think you know a lot about it, it's a good thing to do.
That's exactly right. You get a certification for taking that class as well, and they give you a little test at the end. And you can get discounts on your boating insurance. So
so I guess you get a little certificate or something.
But you know,
at the end of it?
it's the thing of being safe on the water.
Right,
You know,
right,
our philosophy is the more safe you are, the more knowledge you have, the more fun you're going to have. And you know, any of us have been out on the water, we've seen a lot of stupid things happen. And,
You bet.
And I can just about guarantee you, our experience has been that people that get involved in stuff like that, they've never heard of a safety boating class, and they've certainly never been in one.
When people are in big accidents and crazy accidents, you know,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility to
Absolutely.
navigate that thing around there.
Absolutely.
You know? Now you've got a couple other things coming up too.
We've got a lot of things
It's
going
like-
on in April. Now, April the 11th will be our next free fishing seminar, and that's on fishing the flats. Always a very popular class. On the same day, right here on our grounds, we're having our annual flea market, nautical flea market.
Nautical flea market.
Yeah, that's sponsored by Treasure Island Marina.
Right.
And people can actually be vendors in that, or they can just come out and participate and see what all's going on. The Coast Guard Auxiliary will be here, and they're going to try to have Coastie here. You know, he talks with everybody. It's a little tugboat.
Oh, okay. Is
yeah,
that
it's
little
really-
robot towboat?
right.
I've seen him
and
floating around,
they'll be offering free boat inspections on that day as well. And then the other thing that we're having, of course, is the Tyndall Air Show.
That's right. Well, you're not having it, but Tyndall Air Force Base is having it.
Right.
But you guys are going to be part of that, or at least.
Well, we have a lot of our boaters. We're going to anchor out together. And we've just got a brand new Sea Ray 47 Sundancer in.
I've been watching that thing. I've been keeping my eye on that thing.
It's a beautiful boat, and
Yeah.
I'm going to have that out in the water, and we'll have our folks anchored all around us and have a great time.
So the
watching
Marine
that
Max family, whether you're a boater or a member or whatever,
Absolutely.
you're all invited, I suppose.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
well, that sounds like a
they
lot
can let
of
us
fun.
know if they want to be a part of that getaway.
Oh, that's great. Now, don't you also have other things where you have what they call docktails or something like that?
We do, and we're playing a docktails on that boat, and that will be probably invitation only. And but we're going to have a great time. We do all kinds of things.
Docktails.
Get
I like
people
that.
get
Cocktails
people
by the
involved.
dock.
That's right.
Love it. Alliteration. I just love that. You know? But you know, suffice it to say, if you go out to marinemax.com, you can see where all of these classes, all these boating opportunities, all these things.
And they'll just want to put in, if they
available.
go to marinemax.com, they want to go to the Panama City Beach.
That's
store.
right. You got to pick your Marine Max.
And just hit the events on that. There'll be all the events that
Right.
we've talked about will be there, and they can register for any of those events they'd like.
Or just read more about it. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Or better yet, stop in and see Bob
Stop
Fowler.
in, Stop in, see any
Yeah.
of us. Yeah, we'd love
And
to see
by the
you.
way, maybe buy a boat while you're here. Who
That'd
knows?
be a great
That'd be
idea.
nice. But at least take a class.
If they do that, see me.
Bob's your man.
All right.
Bob Fowler, thank you so much.
Yes,
It's
sir,
always,
Don.
always a pleasure
Always-
seeing you.
always
and
good
it's-
to see you,
And it's always
sir.
great to see these beautiful boats and hear about all the wonderful things that are going on here at Marine Max right here on Thomas Drive in Panama City
Thank
Beach.
you, Don. Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back after you're waking up with Don weather. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Alan Graham from Counts Real Estate, and we're going to talk about title insurance. Welcome back to the show, Alan.
Hey, how you doing, Don?
Long time no see.
Yeah, that's true. Good to see you.
Yeah, it is good to see you. Title insurance, why is that so important?
You know, title insurance is a very important feature of a real estate transaction. Title insurance protects the buyer against any liens, encumbrances, or easements that might appear on the property. And I've got a great example of one that happened over at Martin Lake about 8 months ago. 1926, there was a public beach around Martin Lake, and a public rights-of-way were put down to the water for people to enjoy the water. Eventually, in 1940, those lots were sold off as residential lots. People paid cash for them and built houses on them. We got ready to sell the house to the next person, and all of a sudden, on the title, there was a cloud. And that cloud said that there's a public beach and a public access that runs right through the middle of your house.
And I guess that's a real estate term of art, a cloud.
A cloud on a title is something that does not give you clear title. There are certain exemptions that you'll see on your title insurance policy, and those are usually easements that occur for the utilities, for water, electricity, gas, cable, and they've got a defined easement on your property, but they're given an exception on the title policy. And so that title policy is an insurance policy against people having rights that are on your property. In the state of Florida, and in Northwest Florida specifically, the seller of the home usually is responsible for furnishing the title policy. And that's because we have the concept that a buyer should make sure that his property is free and clear of all encumbrances before he makes it marketable.
A seller, right?
Yeah, a seller. And so other places that could be different. So all of that's localized, but that's our custom up here, that a buyer, or excuse me, a seller will make sure that he's got a clear title before he sells it, and he pays for the title policy.
So if you say live on the Gulf or a waterfront property, there's probably an easement along the beach as well that allows public access.
That's right, and if you live on the Gulf, more than likely the state owns most of the beach out in front of you. They came back, and when they started renourishing the beaches years ago, the state basically owns from what they call a coastal setback line. And that coastal setback line was designed to prevent any construction beyond a certain point that the state deemed unsafe for construction to be done.
This just happened recently. There was a fella on my front lawn painting lines across my front lawn. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, well, we got to mark the power lines. And he's like, right through my property, which, you know, it's not hurting anything, but apparently he was from the water company and had to identify where, before they dig, they've got to identify where all the power lines are and all that stuff.
Right, and most people are under the misconception that they own all the way to the road pavement. And that's not true. Their property line usually falls back about 25 or 30 feet outside the pavement, but their yard grows up to the pavement. And so when there's when they have to call a 1-800 number to do we call a dig ticket, we have to do that when we put our real estate signs up to make sure that we don't dig into utilities, gas, especially the new cables that Comcast and WOW use for their high-speed internet. You break one of those, and that's very expensive, and so they usually get real good, solid rights-of-way permission.
And people get annoyed. Now, what about subterranean rights? What if I strike oil on my property? Do I own that oil, or can someone else own the rights to underneath my property?
You know, each one of those are specific, and I gave you an example of a subdivision in South Florida where the developer tried to retain the mineral rights that was under there. And that was because of a new technology that we have, and it's called directional boring, to where they can actually bore down half a mile away and then go up under your property and take oil out from under it. But the state here said that was not going to be correct, and they didn't allow them to do that. And so in that particular situation, they own from the center of the earth all the way up in the air.
That's good to know. Now, how about all the way up in the air? Can I shoot at drones flying over my house?
You know, I'd love to do that too, but I don't think it's safe to do that because you don't know where the bullet's going to land. I don't
That's
think
the only reason.
Yeah, that'd be the only reason. I don't think it's against the law to shoot a drone, but I think it would be a discharge of a firearm would be a problem.
Well, it's good to know I own the dirt and the air above. Alan Graham, always an interesting conversation, my friend. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Don. Enjoyed it.
On titles and title insurance and your rights. And we'll see you next week, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Allison Smith from Herbifex Landscape Management and Pest Control. And thanks for coming back on the show.
Hey, good morning.
I always have such a good time when you come on because you bring cool stuff to play with. And I love putzing around in the yard, doing little things like this, you know. And now I guess you've got some samples of what
these are
typical herbs are here.
Herbs, your preference, tomato, tomato. I say herbs. that anybody can grow in the area.
It's a silent H, isn't it?
You know, some people say it is. I'm from the South, so therefore I say herbs. I pronounce
Okay.
it. Yes. Tomato, potato.
Okay, it's a herb.
Yeah. Your preference, but herb effects. You
Got
gotta put that.
All right, I'm with you on that one then.
But these are Bonnie plants. Bonnie has the lockup on herbs in this area. They're from Alabama. They're in every box store. Anybody sells these guys.
Yeah.
They have a great history.
So it's a good brand.
It's
a
a good
reliable
brand.
of,
They're from Union Springs, Alabama, actually. They're all grown in the South. But these are some really common ones. They're great to plant this time of year. They can all be cut on, trimmed, used prolifically, and they're going to keep coming back for you.
Now, I usually do basil every year. We don't have basil
I
here.
didn't get basil. To me, it's a little early for basil. I would probably wait a little bit longer for basil.
Okay.
If we happen to get another little bit of frost, these four won't care so much, and you can get them established earlier in the spring. You're going to do great. This is your basic. This is just rosemary. This is cooking rosemary. They're different varieties, but actually rosemary loves to be trimmed. So the more you cut on the ends, clip it, it actually loves it. It's actually very happy.
Okay.
And believe it or not, people don't know, but this does get a flower in the summer. It does get a blue flower. Most culinary chefs would tell you don't let herbs flower, keep them trimmed back. But the more you trim on your rosemary, the happier it is.
Well, that's what I do with my basil too. I don't
Just
let it flower.
yes,
I always
keep
top
it-
it off, top it
Yep,
off.
Keep
you
it
know?
trimmed, that kind of thing. This is just curly parsley. Again, this personally I put in a pot. I think with our climate, especially planting it early, terracotta pots, the heat keeps the roots kind of warm. Does great in a container. Same thing, keep it trimmed, nip on it. You can go all the way down to the bottom and then just use the tips. Very easy to grow, and you can use it. Getting established early enough, this will become a perennial, and most of the time we'll make it for a couple of years. Rosemary, I've had rosemary in my yard now for 6 years, same plants.
And you can cook with this and eat it and all whatever you need to do.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, now what are we working with here? Is that oregano?
This is oregano, very good. And oregano actually makes an interesting ground cover. It'll actually spread. If you don't want it to spread across your yard and take over other plants, keep it in a container. Put it in a pot, put it on the porch. Same thing, the more you cut on this, the happier it stays.
I wish people could smell what I'm smelling here, because we've got mint here as well.
Yes,
so I've got
yes.
mint and oregano and all these
And the rosemary
fragrances.
smells great, yeah.
Yeah,
so
it all smells great.
Yes, chicken rosemary. This is the Greek oregano. There are a couple of varieties that do well, but not a lot of water. These are all, of the four, the part that's going to need the most water. This is very drought tolerant. Full sun, if you have an area that gets a lot of sun, this is perfect.
And in the ground or in a pot, either way.
Exactly. Remember, in the ground, it will spread, and you'll be mad when it takes over your other plants. This guy, I actually use it in an area in my backyard as a ground cover. I've had it for 3 years now, and it's probably 3 plants are now about 2 feet by 6 feet.
And now this mint here, which, holy mackerel.
Yes.
That'll take over too, won't it?
This is chocolate mint, and definitely keep this in a container. It will trail over and look for ground, so you want to definitely keep it trimmed.
Actually, I don't know if we can see that, but yeah, look.
This is what it does. This is how it spreads across your yard. It'll actually, as the tips touch anything else, this one had touched the pot next to it. As soon as it touches dirt, it puts down a root and then just keeps going.
Bob, can we see this over here, this little root that's coming out over here? You can just see where it's growing out of the plant and just looking to root somewhere else. So that's what'll happen with
And you could cut that off right now and go stick that in the dirt, and that would give you 2 plants. And these are very common. Like, these are at every store right now. Like I said, they're some of the easiest for beginners. If you wanted to try some herbs, this is a great place to start.
Allison Smith from Herb Effects, thank you so much for getting us smart on these little herbs.
Yeah. If you have any questions, call our office, 850-230-1200.
All right, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Heather Gaither from Metabolic Research Center. Welcome back to the show, Heather. I haven't seen you in so long.
Thanks for having me.
How are things out there at the Research Center?
They're good.
Yes,
great,
yes.
great. It's the perfect time of year for weight loss. So
It's always a good time for weight loss,
is.
but you know, springtime.
absolutely, everybody gearing up for the summer.
Yeah, sure. Now we've got spring break coming up for Bay District schools on Monday.
Yeah,
right?
it starts on Monday.
Yeah. Now, what about the kids? I mean, we're going to be eating all kinds of stuff. We'll be going to Disney or maybe, or
Yeah.
having some family fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of people do travel over their spring break, or they have a staycation. Either way, but there's 3 meals we've got to serve the kids back to back. You know, no time away from school, so it's a good time to really think about incorporating a little bit of healthy eating into the routine of the week of spring break. So when we talk about theme parks, it's a great one. You know, most of the theme parks now, Disney and places like that, are really flexible on allowing you to bring snacks into the park with you.
Oh,
so
geez, yeah.
if you haven't been in a long time, it didn't used to be that way. You used to
Yeah.
go through and they searched your bag and you
Yeah,
couldn't bring things
yeah.
in. Now you can bring bottled waters, you can bring bananas, you can bring crackers, you can bring apples, oranges. So, you know, anything, little snack bags you want to bring with you will not only save you a ton of money.
Yes, it will.
Yes, because Disney's done a good job of trying to incorporate healthy snacks, and you can get a little bit of pineapple for like $7.
Oh, goody. How many pineapples can you buy for $7?
I'm telling you, you know, so they do offer some more healthy choices, which is great if you find yourself there. There are a lot more healthy choices at the theme parks than there ever have been before. But the healthiest, easiest, and cheapest way to go is to bring it with you.
Yeah, and just brown bag that along, and you're good
Yes.
to go. And even locally, I always found this amusing. You know, people go on vacation from Panama City. I mean,
Yes.
people come here from vacation, but people who live here go somewhere else.
Yes,
on vacation.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And we were guilty of that when the boys were little. We were regulars at Disney and Universal and places like that.
And
so.
it's really nice that the flexibility they allow now to families coming into the park. So I always think about things like apples and oranges. They don't need a bag. They come, you know, nature has provided their covering for them. And so you throw apples, oranges, bananas, bags of nuts, cheese sticks, all sorts of things like that. They're just flexible. Kids get hungry. The lines are long.
Boy.
And hungry kids and a long line are like,
I remember being in, was it Disney or Universal? I forget which park we were at. The first time I saw one of those turkey drumsticks, that Fred
Yes.
Flintstone
Yeah.
turkey drumstick. I was like, people look like savages, you know, like walking around the park eating those
I
things.
always wonder who was the person that came up with the idea in the first place that they're going to start doing that. I mean, there's
know.
so many things. Who thought about this?
But we were starving, and we got a couple. I think they were $5 a pop at the
Yeah.
time, whatever they were.
Yeah.
They were good.
They are. Yeah, no, seriously, if I was going to tell you to get something, that'd be exactly what I'd tell you to get.
We got to run off to a break. Let's talk some more about healthy choices at theme parks on the other side of these messages. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Heather Gaither from Metabolic Research Center. We're talking about healthy snacks over spring break for the kids.
Yes, right around the corner.
Right around the corner. Now, you had said we had talked about going away on vacation, eating those
Yeah.
big savage drumsticks at
Yes.
the theme parks, or packing a lunch here. What if the kids are home? What if you have a staycation in your home and
Yeah.
kids are
so-
running around and they need a snack in the middle of the day
Yeah,
or
I want to do
whatever?
some fun stuff, right? Give it a little bit of a vacation feel, and I think there's some really great. It's warming up outside. I love making popsicles, and popsicles are something that kids love. They can grab and go. I actually buy the old school popsicle makers. You can get them at Target or Bed Bath & Beyond. In fact, I even saw them at Publix the other day. So what I do is put fresh fruit juice in there and sliced fruit, and you
wow.
freeze it. And so when you pull it out, you have this beautiful popsicle, and you can see the fruit inside. But for the kiddos, it's nice and sweet because but it's all it is made with real fruit.
You know, when I was a kid, we used to make the Kool-Aid popsicles.
Oh yeah, me too.
you
My
know?
mom made those. Yeah.
It comes in a little kit and all that stuff. We used to
Absolutely.
love those. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And
throw
this
some
is just
fruit in
a
there
new
and-
twist on the same thing, and it will taste just as good. So you can use any type of fruit juice that you want to use, and any kind of sliced fruit you want to throw in there. And man, a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I guess you could probably freeze orange juice or whatever
Oh,
you
sure,
like. It's
sure.
all good.
Oh, yeah. Any flavor combinations you want. And the kids can figure out, that's a fun thing for the kids to do, right? Is I want orange and I want strawberries and blueberries in mine, and the other kid wants strawberry juice with whatever in there. So they can figure that all out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, our tendency is, at least in our house, is go for the junk. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if there's chips around, we'll eat them. You know,
Yeah.
if there's candy around, we'll eat it. You know.
And I think just thinking through this
Yeah.
spring break and thinking about some fun things you can do some cooking with the kids, make some popsicles, make some smoothies, let them be involved in it. Because one thing we know is the more that kids are involved with making food, being with food, the more they will enjoy the flavor of real food. So you give a kid a salad, they will never eat it. You have a child come make a salad with you, they eat it.
That's genius when you think about it.
It's their
you know?
work, right?
Yeah.
It's not you telling them what to do. It's them being creative, little chefs. And when
Yeah.
they become creative chefs, all of a sudden everything tastes great.
It's like any little project around the house.
Absolutely.
If they're vested in it.
If they're vested in it, they will absolutely do it and enjoy it.
Well, how can we find out more about healthy snacks for kids?
You can check out our website, emetabolic.com. I've got some blogs on there. We've also got a Facebook page, so you can learn all about us there, and tons of good ideas for having a good time.
I know, because I like the whole popsicle idea with the fruit in it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of recipes on our website. You can catch a bunch of those.
We don't have any little kids around the house anymore, so I'll just have to make it for myself.
Yeah, they're great adult snacks, actually.
Never too old for a kid's snack.
Frozen bananas are awesome too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of good chocolate, just a little. That way you don't have as much. You melt your chocolate, stick that frozen banana in it, freeze it. Oh, great.
Heather Gaither, thanks for that tip. I'm going to go home and freeze a banana now.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.